Hi, I'm Alex, and welcome back to Auto Provisioner. We now have Auto Provisioner in the browser. You now have access to a full Claude Code-esque CLI coding agent, but from your browser. So you can do anything that you would otherwise, but more importantly, we've built some out-of-the-box workflows within Auto Provisioner that make it really easy for you to ship products and get feedback from users as quickly as possible. So to get started, we're just going to kick this off. I'm going to set off the implement Alchemy refactor migration workflow. To do this, I'm just going to select a repository that I have here. This is just from the Cloudflare template super collection of Cloudflare templates. So this one is a very simple to-do list app. We use a worker, of course, because everything in Cloudflare uses workers, and using the Remix framework with a KV namespace. So that's just basically a cache that we have access to from the worker. And then we also need to have an assets folder because the Remix framework has a lot of static assets. And so we need to be able to serve those basically from a CDN. So what we're doing is we're getting started. These out-of-the-box workflows are just prompts, so you can go and see everything that's going on. And what we're doing in this one is we are migrating Wrangler, which is the out-of-the-box Cloudflare deployment CLI and overall strategy, to Alchemy, which is a new open source library that, in my opinion, makes it even easier to deploy and use Cloudflare for your main application platform when you're talking about deploying products. Alchemy is awesome for a lot of reasons, but my main reason is, and what we're hearing from customers, is that you can set up preview deployments really easily. The issue, though, is migrating to it in the first place. What if, instead of having to go and read all the docs, you could just go on your phone and say, hey, I'm curious about this, let's see if it works. And you can just click a button and you get a URL at the end. You see the PR. And then you can evaluate, is this something that I actually want to invest my time into? With Auto Provisioner, that idea, that dream, is now a reality. So what we're doing now is completing the entire refactor. Basically, this prompt is a set of context. It's context that tells the CLI agent that we're using in the browser how to do the actual Alchemy refactor in and of itself, so that it knows how to use the API and use the library and all the different packages that it exports, and then has some other tasks that ensures that the refactor / migration is done correctly and quickly with a URL at the end. So we've created a to-do list. What you're going to see is this is just the same as using Claude Code from your CLI or Auto Provisioner from your CLI, but it's in the browser and it's seamless. It's really easy and it's really fast. So you can now do multiple sessions in parallel in a remote way. It's pretty amazing, and you can build all of these workflows on top of it. So what we're doing now is we just made sure that we are starting with a Wrangler-based project, which we are. So this is the Cloudflare template that I've cloned into my private GitHub, and we see that we do have a Wrangler, and we're just going to refactor that into Alchemy. So next is we've built a plan to determine which mappings do we actually need from all the different resources that Alchemy supports. Alchemy is not just Cloudflare specific, don't get me wrong, but it is the best-in-class tool for how to do infrastructure if you don't hate TypeScript. It's so much easier than Terraform. It's so much easier than Pulumi. It's much lighter, and it has really strong integrations with the upcoming cloud platforms such as Cloudflare, and of course AWS and lots of others. So that's what we're going to be implementing. It's going to help you deploy fast. To keep going, we're going out and finishing all of the tasks. This is, again, the same as doing it from an actual CLI, but you don't have to install the CLI anymore. You can just go to autoprovisioner.ai. We're installing Alchemy because it's just a NPM package, just like any other JavaScript package. And then we're going through the plan. We're writing the Alchemy run file. And we added the scripts to the package.json because, of course, we want to document which parts of Alchemy we care about by adding them to the script section of package.json. We are building it because, as I mentioned, this template uses the Remix framework, so we need to have a build step. It's not just deploy without any sort of transformations to the files, just like React and pretty much every other popular JavaScript framework. And then one thing that's really relevant here is we're checking that we have access to Cloudflare. Now, this is not using any sort of shared Cloudflare account or anything like that. You as the user don't even need to sign up to Cloudflare. If you want to, you 100% can, but you don't need to do that to even experience Auto Provisioner. We automatically create an API token and a unique account ID for you. And if you want to use that, that's great. If you want to migrate to your own that isn't managed by Auto Provisioner, you can. It's super flexible, fully integrated with the open source CLI. And yeah, we just want to make it really easy for you to deploy as quickly as possible. So boom, we can see we completed the run file and we completed the deployment right here. And now we're just committing the changes, creating the pull request, which we did here. Or rather, we're committing it here, committing the migration document so that you can go back and actually find out what it did if you want to get into it. And then last step is we're creating the PR. It's pretty amazing. This is fully automated. Again, it's just the access that Auto Provisioner can now give you with trying out new ideas that would otherwise require such a time suck, right? Otherwise, migrations are like, oh, I need to go and read all the docs of how I want to do this. I need to get a really detailed setup plan for doing it and have clear metrics and success criteria and all that jazz. But with AI, you don't have to do any of that. You can do it instead of plan it. And then if you do it and it works out well enough, then you can spend all the time planning it. And boom, there we go. We now have the worker URL, which we can go to. And we see, oh my gosh, it's the to-do list with Cloudflare bindings, a compilation build step, everything. I challenge you to go through any of these templates, put them through the migration workflow, and see them show up just as they would have before. We can write some to-dos. Of course, we have access to our cache. We can say, oh, I need to cook dinner. And I also need to sleep. That's easy to forget to do whenever you're using tools like Auto Provisioner. And you can then refresh, and they're still there because it's a cache. It's persistent storage that isn't fully based in the browser. And we can delete it, and it works just like CRUD, but it's in Cloudflare. You don't need Docker. You don't need any of that. It's super scalable. It's amazing. And most important of all, we have our pull request. We have it in our private repository, and now we can go through and be like, wow, this is really cool. Imagine what I can do if I had preview deployments that can spin up and down for free instantly for every single PR. That's what we're going to get into next video. But for this video, let's just focus on, wow, that was so easy. We have this URL. We can see all of our changes. We did a lot of stuff. We most importantly made our alchemy.run file. And now we have the option to migrate to a better deployment strategy because it doesn't take any time anymore. And it's amazing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay tuned.